Day 4. London. Evening. At the Square. A restaurant. Michael Shaw was an elegant and handsome man. 45 years of age, classical English feature that suggested an aristocratic lineage. His 5'10" frame was a sculpture of fine, sinewy features, straight pointed nose, prominent cheekbones, a roguishly handsome face, with a crafted, unruly hair and typical British pale complexion. Michael had a good English upbringing, including an education at two of England's finest schools, Eton and Oxford. He was a man of the arts. He was the only senior member of SSL staff who was not a technology expert. He had a well-developed business acumen that minimized that deficiency. Michael was also a master of the art of British understatement, an attribute that clearly endeared him to Brett. He got on well with Brian Keith, the UK manager, who had a much less of an ebullient personality and was considerably more measured. Brett and Michael were to meet at the Square, one of London's finest French restaurants, at the Berkeley Square. Brian had a client dinner that night. Gina had an earlier dinner engagement, one of Anna's closest friends, but she said she would be pleased to accept Brett and Michael's invitation for drinks at the Churchill Hotel piano bar later that evening. As Brett left from number 6 Cambridge Place, the SSL headquarters, by car provided by Scotland Yard, he noticed for the first time a second dark sedan pull out from the curb at the entrance to the cul-de-sac and start to follow his cab. "One of yours?" he asked the agent driving. "Yes, sir," he replied, without even checking. The two cars pulled up, with one car dispersing, two agents and disappearing. The second car parked some 50 yards away. Brett had been seated at the Square only long enough to half-finish a Kir Royale when Michael arrived. "God, Brett, this is simply unbelievable." "Unbelievable," he stammered while grasping Brett's right forearm with his left hand, while shaking Brett's hand in a very firm grasp. "This is the work of a madman, or madmen. 4 killings in 4 cities on the same day, within 4 hours of each other. What the hell is going on? Did Scotland Yard have any insight into this mess?" Nothing, not even a lead. All 4 attacks were so well constructed and executed that no one saw or heard anything. It was simply beyond comprehension that such daring could be accomplished, and no one was a witness. "Or wanted to be," added Michael. "Point accepted. Tables are ready. Shall we?" Brett replied. Brett gestured to the sommelier, who nodded. He quickly approached their table and almost whispered said, 61, Marco. "Conventional wisdom," Michael began, "would suggest that this is one of the work of a terrorist group, disenchanted with something we did or are doing that is a threat to their existence, political activities, or beliefs." Brett listened thoughtfully. "But I don't believe that supposition," Michael added with conviction. "These acts have been too well orchestrated, too well planned and executed, too much for a terrorist group which is used to providing human bombs or blatant assassination in full public view. This is far too refined for a terrorist group. And to plan this and pull it off required substantial resources, just to escape, let alone find out all the information as to the person's names, habits, and exact whereabouts at precise times. These were highly calculated actions, each one requiring up to weeks of efforts before they could be actioned. And the fact that they all occurred on the same day at nearly the same time is another degree of complexity, let alone trying to understand why the attacks occurred at all." Brett pushed back from the table while the waiter poured the last of the wine. "Michael, I can accept everything you said, but it still doesn't leave us with any answer to the nagging question of who. Who did this?" Michael ignored Brett's rhetorical question and proceeded with his own line of reasoning. "Let me offer you a challenge. Perhaps not just something was occurring in one or more of our offices that we, you and I, did not know about. For example, perhaps some of the activities of a gravity that would precipitate this kind of damnable act. Is this a possibility? Could it actually be something that was happening covertly to our own management? Or are you a part of this whole damn mess too, Brett?" "For Christ's sakes, Michael, Well, anything is possible. I think you're way out on a limb. These are all people we have known as colleagues for friends for the better part of 2 decades. If it were happening, how would it go undetected by us? How could it be executed? And by who? In our own company? Brett shifted in his seat and continued while Michael still maintained his very skeptical look on his face. But the answers are not so damn easy to find out. Not with 4 people who might have known, or should have known, now being dead. Brett replied, while easing off his aggressive stance. I smell a rat, Michael blurted out. A damned rat. Michael, I am saturated. Let's go over to the church where we're planning to meet Gina. There is one terrific female jazz pianist and singer at the piano that is simply gorgeous, in sound and sight. Jesus, Brett, I admire your ability to shift gears and not crumble from the weight of what is going on around you. Let's go, Michael. The diversion will do us good. We have a Scotland Yard escort, which I am sure you'll grow fond of, Michael. Let's go listen to the young lass. If no one has blown her head off, Michael added with a wry smile.